What's happening, financial coaches? It's Pete here, and I want to talk to you today about delusion. And this is not to say that someone can't say something and make it happen, or that the unlikely might become possible, or the improbable is going to happen. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that on a number of these share boards where financial coaches share their thoughts, ideas, updates to their business, I saw one recently that said, something along the lines of, hey, 18 months later, I was down and out, hadn't made any money, hadn't brought on any clients, but got my first client today and am super excited. On my way to making this a 7-figure business. Now, I just want to say here that I have been doing this a pretty long time. I have been doing this for at least 12 years now, 13 years almost. And I have been in various parts of this business and expanded it beyond financial coaching to include financial wellness and more on that to come, but I've been in the industry a while. And last year I felt, and I did a video about this, I made a decent amount of money doing this. I felt like more than I ever anticipated. I didn't know if the financial coaching business would even allow me to make a 6-figure salary. And in fact, a few years ago, I did a video on just my financial coaching side of the business. And I think that was like $117,000 a year that I made. But if you have seen my other video, I have talked about and broken down the various income streams that I had, and I made just a little over $420,000 last year. Now, like I said, I've been doing this for 12, 13 years. I've written several books about financial wellness. I've been the keynote speaker at several financial wellness conferences. I feel like I have a very limited, but, pretty solid reputation in this business. I work with some people that are also, I think, innovators in this space here. And I think we're all exclusively focused on trying to deliver financial help and build financial wellness to as many people as we can with the skill sets and talents that we have. And that does not mean that I will be a Dave Ramsey or some sort of titan in this industry, but we're trying to do this on the macro level within the community, directly with individuals, trying to solve problems, trying to create resources and tools for the average person. And I never knew where that was going to take me. To be honest, if it provided me enough income to live on, I was going to be happy. And so I've been very happy where this goes. And I'm not saying that some people won't exceed that. I actually think a lot of people will exceed what I've done. But when I hear that people have taken 18, 19 months to bring in their first dollar, and they still think that they are going to achieve orders of magnitude beyond what I've achieved, it's not that I am just skeptical about it, but part of me thinks that they might be delusional. And the reason I bring this up is not to bash on them or to hope that they don't find great success. In fact, hopefully, maybe there's a little bit of a behavior disorder by the people watching this that are in that situation. They say, hey, Pete, I'm going to show you how successful I can be. I'm going to show you that you're wrong and make this a huge, successful business. And I hope that's true, because the more people that are successful in this business, the more help that is out there for the people that need it. But what I am saying here is that I know that coaches are supposed to be rah-rah cheerleaders sometimes. That's a part of what we do. We try to help people find motivation, sometimes in the darkest of times. But what I am saying is that I would not coach someone who is on a bad path or in the wrong direction and try to make it seem like they are heading in the right direction. Now, getting your first client is heading in the right direction, but using that as evidence that there's going to be some sort of big successful future in the near term might not only be unlikely, but it might be impossible, and it might not be doing you any favors if you are holding on to that. If you think that just by doing more and getting over the hump, that it's suddenly going to unleash a lot of business, that the floodgates are going to open up. I have generally found in my experience that there's no such thing as floodgates, that no one is overwhelmed beyond their capacity, that everyone can scale up to the business that comes in, but they think there's more business than they're going to be able to handle. And my problem with it is that, unfortunately, what you might end up finding yourself doing is spending more years, not just the 18 or 19 months that you've already spent, but another 18 or 19 months on top of that, also languishing and then realizing that it's not going to go anywhere. To be honest, if you spend 4 years doing something and make minimum wage doing it, you're going to bring in $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. You're talking about $200,000 versus maybe a couple $1,000s. There's such a big difference. And sometimes as coaches, we may be giving our clients better information than we are really believing ourselves. And so I just want to say, listen, if you have been working at this for more than 6 months and you haven't brought in any business, I have no problems with you trying to continue on for a few more months. I have no problems with you trying to continue on for another 6 months to put a year under your belt. But I will tell you this, if you haven't brought in a dollar within 6 months, you're not on a very good or healthy track. If you have not brought in a dollar by your ninth month, your likelihood of succeeding in this business is getting much worse. And I tell you what, if you had come to me and said, listen, I've been doing this for a year, I've been doing it pretty diligently, and especially if you've said, I've been doing this full time, I don't have another job, I quit my job and poured myself into this exclusively, and you have not brought in any business in a year, I would honestly tell you to move on from it. I would shut down the business, maybe keep it alive as a side hustle, but I would go out and get a job. Just remember, you have blown away the opportunity cost at $30, $40, $50,000 on this. And if you are bringing in that little business over that period of time, you could certainly do this as a side hustle. You could certainly spend a few hours a week just marketing yourself on top of the 40 hours a week that you're working at a bank or a credit union or in a financial advisory office or an insurance agency or something like that, and continue to build up your reputation. But if you have been doing this seriously full time for 6, 9 months, a year, and have 4 figures or less of income to show for it, then I think I would move on from this business. I don't think it's for you. And there can be a number of reasons, but I don't think it is the demand. There is demand. There are people out there making a good business at this. You may be reluctant to actually pull the trigger on sales. You may be reluctant to tell people how much it costs. But the bigger thing is you are probably not getting prospects over the hump of believing that you can help them. You're probably not inspiring them or telling them what you can do. And so they're just not pulling the trigger. And especially if you find that you have a bunch of supportive friends who say, yeah, you should do this, and they're not buying from you or they're not referring to you. I don't want to be overly negative about that, but let that be a message to you that they may be saying one thing, but their actions are telling you something else. Their actions are saying, hey, personally, I don't think I would get value out of spending my money with you. Personally, I don't think sending someone else to spend their money with you is necessarily a good return for them either. And so they are voting with their wallet and their referrals. And if you're not getting any, then I would think about pivoting to something that maybe you find equally as enticing and maybe a bit more lucrative. So again, not trying to get people out of this business or anything like that. But what I do see is a lot of people who will grasp onto any little bit of information to hold on, to carry themselves forward, to pat themselves on the back. And by all measures, they aren't very successful. By all measures, this does not look like an upward trajectory. By all measures, it does not look like they will be able to produce a living income in this business. So I know a little bit sobering. I know super negative Nelly here, but what I also don't want you to do is spend years upon years working on a business, pouring your heart and soul into this, saying that you have a calling, saying this is what you should be doing, saying that you have a passion to help people and not be able to bring in the money because unfortunately, money isn't the end all be all, but it is a signal of how we keep score on your effectiveness. So if you're struggling with some of these thoughts, maybe struggling with some of these timetables and the income, then hopefully this helps give you some ideas on what to do next. I'll see you later.